Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. I've been studying these charts very deeply, and it's really self evident what the science is saying. And it's basically indisputable, I think, at this point. If you don't think that we've lost almost seemingly 45 to 50% of our total magnetic field strength in the past 1,000 years. And in the past 10 years, I mean, excuse me, 100 years, we've lost 10%. That rate has increased dramatically. Think about it, guys. 50% of the field strength, you can see it on this chart here. And here's how the pole flip kind of technically works. You have your two poles on the end, and these are the magnetic poles. And as the pole flip begins, each pole starts to migrate and move faster and faster. And then what happens is there's kind of a magnetic pole mitosis where these poles start to uh, give create progeny poles, little mini baby poles. And these little progeny poles can form up to two, three, four, maybe of the same charge, positive or negative of the field. And both sides do this, and then they start to move towards each other. And as those mini poles are created and all this movement is happening, that requires a lot of energy. So, what the Earth's magnetic field does is take away the shielding from the Earth and use that energy for this dynamic jostling of the magnetic, you know, poles within this multipole magnetic structure that is our moon. I mean, is our Earth and doesn't look like a bar magnet. This is really scary, guys. When I look at this chart, look how quick it's dropping. And if you look 42,000 years ago during the last pole flip, it's not like it goes from, 100 back to 100, or 100 just to zero. It goes from 100% to zero, then it stays there for a little bit, and then it gradually goes back up to 100 again. This can be 200 years to 1,000 years in that ultra low, if not no, magnetic field epoch. There are going to be some things that start to happen as the pole flip progresses. And right now, when I look at the poles, we have, it looks to me like about 6 poles now. And I think we're pretty safe. I think we're at like 45 to 50% of a healthy full electromagnetic field strength. And so at this total field strength, 40 to 55%, I think we will start discovering and know that there are more skin cancers. There will be a greater frequency, size, amount, and strength of all weather forms. All increases: hotter, drier summers, colder winters, and more storms, more tornadoes, stronger, blah, blah, blah. Migratory animals will begin showing signs of something's wrong. Electronics begin to show some of their first signs. The most crappy, weakest, unshielded stuff will start showing interference. This is very important. Solar storms now become much, much, much more powerful. The average solar storm that wouldn't bother us with a full magnetic field could be like a Carrington event without the magnetic shield. This is a mass extinction, guys. All the major animals, everything that's on the surface gets blasted with DNA damaging radiation. This is going to be a mass extinction. Okay, more stuff that happens at 40 to 55%. Land temperatures rise globally. Okay, yeah, solar storms, the danger doubles. Debunkers will delay government response, stunting the preparations, causing undue suffering and deaths later. The glacier melt rate increases rapidly, raising sea levels. That's already starting to happen at a good pace. Then let's move to 55 to 70%. UVA and UVB and DNA damaging radiation now hit Earth strongly. Social order begins to recognize something's going on. There is some violence, some rioting in places, looting and hoarding with announcements that occur. Supply chain has problems. What do we have here? Massive reduction in so many different types of services. Shortage begin. People will start wearing weird clothes and hats and thick paint, sunscreen and stuff to cover themselves. Electronics will start to begin to show signs of increasing failure and oddness, even if the public doesn't fully realize it yet. Once the news comes out and people start talking about how high and bad it is, that's when you get some of the more of the social disorder. But of course, there's going to be more powerful weather, storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, fires. And then when it gets to 70 to 85%, this is the real bad spot. And even a little before this is because it can do a fast drop, which is what it looks like has happened in history. So as humanity realizes what's going on, the stocks will crash globally. Supply chain will stop. Food, gas, medicine, cash, gun stores will sell out. Crime will skyrocket. Militaries are going to be the only uh, group that can communicate. We will be losing water into space. It won't be a lot. It won't be. We won't turn to Mars, but we will be losing some water into that. Uh, we lost our greenhouse effect kind of thing. There's going to be water warming, of course, increasing, which is going to have dramatic effects with the weather. Atmospheric carbon will skyrocket. Climate mega extremes. We're going to see a minimum of a doubling of all weather. And then you're basically at this point just waiting for the EMF dropout stage, where it just goes from, it's somewhere between 60 and 80, I think. It just drops, does that last bit, and it shuts off the last of the electromagnetic field to use that energy to migrate these poles to the other side, these little poles and the big ones. So that dropout is really bad. That's when it hits 0, 0. And when that happens, this is the worst level. When I really thought about this, I was kind of stunned. I think the atmospheric depletion could be so bad we could lose our greenhouse effect. And what it looks like historically, there's a little bit of heat and then a massive glaciation that happens after pole shifts. And I bet this is why you lose the atmosphere that gives us the greenhouse effect, which warms us. So then immediately and incredibly suddenly, I think there's going to be a super chill that will begin and last until the Earth regains enough field strength. We're going to have a glaciation, gang, and it's going to start with a boom cold snap, a mega cold snap. All shielded electronics and unshielded, especially. Wires, computers, cars, ATMs, lights, planes, ships, plumbing, metal. Wires will be zapping people. It's a total communication blackout. Nothing works. The digital age is over. Welcome back to the Stone Age. It's the real life road warrior. The mass extinction of plants and animals begins, especially the larger animals. Horrible suffering for life on Earth. Deformities, lower fertility, and lifespans crash. Here's one you wouldn't perhaps have suspected at first. Increased volcanic and earthquake activity. The volcanic can increase the cold glaciation effect. And during this last stage, this is when we will see the very worst. and the very best of humanity. There will be people robbing and murdering just to be cannibals and eat them. And there'll be others who'll give up their lives to save another. The militaries are going to be the only organized larger group that has a reasonable chance of saving groups of humans. And there's going to be megastorms now. I mean, real megastorms. And the 0% magnetic field strength could last for 150 to 500 years is my real sweet spot, but it could be up to 1,000. And then it slowly rebuilds. I'm not, uh, fear mongering. This is the way it looks. Look at the history. Am I wrong here, gang? What do you think? What kind of solutions do you think could help now?